have been as yet unverified reports that Nigeria's ruling political party, the All Progressives Congress, does not plan to again put current Vice President Kashim Shettima on the same ticket as President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general election. APC chieftain Cletus Obun joins us now to discuss this reported plot to get Vice President Shettima out of the 2027 ticket, its chances of success and how it can affect the party. It's good to have you with us on Newsday.
Thanks for having me.
Very good.
Very speculative subject.
Very good. So how credible are these claims over moves to exclude the Vice President on the same ticket as the President in 2027 polls, you think?
First, I don't want to give veracity and authenticity and give credibility to that kind of speculative story. It's coming from very idle minds. Nobody in APC has ever contemplated a discussion on that matter. What we are into now as a political party is to deal with the issues of governance and the very turbulent issues facing Nigeria today. We cannot be discussing candidacy even before the primaries, not even to talk about our conventions and congresses. So whoever and wherever that kind of rumor is coming from, it must be coming with very idle minds that don't wish Nigeria well. So must we play politics at every time in our history, in our time, even when we find all this? Fine, people are free, opinion is free, suggestions are free, discussions are free. But I do think that on serious issues at a moment like this, I do not think that APC is bothered about candidacy. In any case, let's even concede to them that there must be a discussion. What will be the basis for changing a winning team? So far, and nobody in this country, if you put them on a debate with even any of the presidential candidates being paraded or that were paraded last time, none of them can come by pedigree or by intellectual ability near Kashim Shettima. That is a man who has demonstrated how to be a vice and who has shown his intellectual sagacity and political urbanity and civility. So why would you want to change such a man? I do not think that it is even part on the table in the first place for discussion. Where we are now as a political party is how to organize ourselves, first, to put the tattered opposition in a manner that they can also give us correction, and secondly, to also put our party in a position to give the best to Nigerians. We have insecurity, we have educational issues, we have infrastructural deficit, and the vice president you are talking about is presently in Davos, and he just came back from Paris, and each time you see him on parade, the entire country is proud, and nobody will listen to a Kashim Shettima and want him changed as a presidential candidate. And those who even paraded the issue and came out with the issue of Muslim ticket, where are they today? They are not the hallelujah singers and the cheerleaders in APC also jubilating with us over the pair and the decision that we took. So I do not think that that discussion should in the first place be part of what APC is thinking about. Those who do this to distract us have met with a brick wall, because there is no way APC will be distracted by that kind of discussion.
All right, Mr. Cletus, I'm going to take some of your words. You said what will be the basis for changing a winning team, and that you're focused on security and educational issues and the likes. Some might say that the basis has been what we've seen in terms of insecurity, claims that have been made, allegations of Christian genocide, what it looks like not necessarily having a representation for the Christian community in the presidential seat. That might be the basis for some people to say, that might say that there might need to be a change or some kind of adjustment for this winning team. So, but you pointed out that you're facing insecurity and educational issues and the likes. Can you tell us about the worthy milestones that have been achieved by this winning team when it comes to tackling the insecurity and educational issues? Because these are matters we just discussed moments ago with some analysts, and it looks like there's a lot to be concerned about, particularly in those two areas.
In nearly 10, going to the 12th year after the Buhari era of 8 years, and now into the 3rd year of the Tinubu presidency under the APC flag, and Nigerians should tell us the number of strikes we have had in universities. Part of why the growing number of private institutions arose in Nigeria was strikes. That's why people are running away. Never because of the quality of education or the quality of lecturers. Because if you get into the private institutions that are running in this country, 70% of their lecturers come from public universities. So if that is it, then clearly you can see that strikes were at the bottom of it because people no longer knew when they will graduate after getting into university or polytechnics or college of education that are public. Therefore, it was an issue. And I ask you, what number of strikes? As we talk, each time there is a hiccup in the system, you can see the response from the presidency, not even from the minister, from the presidency. And the present minister that we have is a quick fixer at all times. The government rushes to ensure that our academic system is no longer disrupted. And why do you think that our graduates are in hot cake in the international market? Our educational system, then of course, the poor of the poorest in Nigeria today are guaranteed by the student loans fund, which is now propagating, going to over more than 500,000 students already accessing it and made so easy for accessibility. Is it in the area of infrastructure? Look at the number of roads. You cannot expect, for example, that the east-west Calabar.
I asked you about two specific areas, not infrastructure, specifically education and insecurity. You've mentioned what you can about education. Let's talk about insecurity now.
Now, on insecurity, under the Buhari regime, because government is a continuum, and most people give the impression that this present Tinubu government is running away from what Tinubu did. It is not true. On insecurity, if you remember in this country, at a time, flags of insurgents were being flown in whole local governments and parts of entire states. I challenge any Nigerian to show me a flag of any either ISIS or any of the insurgents or bandits doing that. Second, there is banditry. We have all agreed on that. Presently, in order to tackle it, you have seen what Nigeria is doing with the United States, seeking collaboration and cooperation, seeking international support to deal with the issue of, and within the last how many years, look at the courage the president has demonstrated in changing his architecture in the security atmosphere, in which the former chief of defense staff became the defense minister, which puts a round peg in a round hole and a square peg in a square hole, in which we are now seeing a degradation, heavy degradation in the last 3 months, in the last 90 days. You will agree that what you are seeing in the northwest and the northeast is no longer what we were seeing before now. And of course, in the north-central areas of Benue and Plateau.
Mr. Obun, we just had a conversation with Mr. Darshibale a moment ago. How we might need an intervention, a federal intervention, in when it comes to dealing with insecurity in the north, because we still have states that are trying to pardon terrorists under the president's watch. So you might be going far to look for flags, but I'm talking about realities, today's news. So what's happening in that regard?
Now, when you say that some states, that is subnationals, are denigrating or trying to degrade, and you heard the Minister of Defense coming out strongly only 48 hours ago. We are talking about current issues and practical issues, coming out to condemn and insist that the federal government will not tolerate any subnational negotiating. And he was vehement, he was unequivocal and unambiguous to the fact that the federal government under its present designed for defense and for security will not allow negotiation, and the bandits do not deserve because they never keep agreements. That was a vehement, straight statement. It was not gallivanting. It was not guesswork. This was the Minister of Defense who just left as Chief of Defense Staff. He is making a statement on behalf of the federal government. And you are telling me about some states are doing this. And they have come out to say, you cannot do it. They are not begging them not to do it. They are saying, you cannot continue that negotiation. And if you look at 36 states and FCT, how many states are involved in that? And they have been tackled. And the minister is saying so vehemently on behalf of the federal government. Do you expect them to carry a koboko, a stick, or a carrot to walk into those states and start flogging the governors for doing that? They did it, and they have been warned. And they are not just warning, they are moving in to ensure that that is implemented and that is executed according to the present current architecture for security in Nigeria. If that is so, also you look at the war theaters and how they have been moved around. Look at the defense, especially in terms of our military might and in terms of our military imports and equipment. Look at what Nigeria is doing about that. We are not talking about what is past. We are talking about what is ongoing. And you don't expect it. It's not a turnkey technology in which you press one button and everything goes down. So the degradation I'm talking about is not just that it has happened, that it is happening. Because not even America, not even Russia, not even China has pretended that it has solved its security problems with all their technology. This is work in progress. And for Nigeria, coming from where we are coming from, you should agree that there's a sufficient reduction in banditry. And of course, I have said in the last 90 days. I was not talking about in the last 90 years. I said in the last 90 days, that is 3 months, we have seen a gradual and speedy reduction in banditry, and the cooperation received from international communities have as much as possible started tackling them in their cells. And the war is being taken to those areas in which bandits and insurgents have become so rampant. And most of them have not just been liquidated, they have not just been eliminated, even their bases have been captured. Sambisa, how many days ago was that? It's not up to 2 weeks. So are we talking about history? We are talking about facts that are going on. So nobody is dodging from the issues. And let us also be factual in agreeing that only recently, in the same media you are talking about, your channel inclusive, showing us how many degradations have taken place and how many of the bandit masters and spearheads, and including presently as we talk, a former minister is sitting on trial, is sitting on investigation concerning these same matters. So it is no longer about talk shops, it's about action. And this government has demonstrated that. So I'm shocked when you say that we are dealing with issues of banding with what and trying to do guesswork. We are talking facts that the minister has just come out to say we will not. And being a former soldier and military man, he has not spent even 2 months out of his holiday, out of retirement, and he's coming as minister. So he knows what he's talking about and he's dealing with that squarely. And I think this government should be commended for having the courage to change its architecture once it notices that something is going wrong. Nobody is dodgy, nobody is avoiding, nobody is escaping. We are all Nigerians and we shall remain here and solve our problems. And this government has demonstrated not just the will, but have executed a lot of that.
We look forward to outcomes that we all can feel as Nigerians. But for now, we'd like to thank you for your time here on Newsday. APC Chieftain Cletus Obun, thank you for joining us.